When it's like me, I go out of my mind. It's like me, baby, I've reached the Pritchard line.
And we're back. Judd'z Budz, episode 85. As always, your host. It was in the corner. I couldn't read it. This fucking title's too long. As always, your host, Spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how we doing?
We're good. We're good. I'm just glad you didn't get concussed there looking for the episode.
I had to stop myself from like really leaning in too far because I would have gone blind from the brightness of the computer screen. Probably would have hit my head, conky, done, like episode over, shortest episode of all time. Everyone probably would have loved it.
It might have been the most viewed though. Not
probably.
on podcast, but at least on YouTube.
Yeah, it just goes black. It's over after I hit my head off the computer.
Sopranos.
Disappear. Yeah, exactly. So, a week of not much news. Not a whole lot going on in NHL world at all. Just kidding. I feel like there'll be like absolutely nothing, and then all like one day everything happens, and I get overwhelmed and shut down, and that's what I do. That's just my life now. But before we get into like literally everything, I guess. How was your week? How you doing? How was your weekend? How was your Halloween? Did you go trick or treating? Did you wear a costume?
I'm in the weird bubble now where like I don't have any kids, but I'm also too old to like party and enjoy Halloween. Like I'm in that awkward middle zone where like Halloween just doesn't really exist, except for laughing at some of the costumes that players garb. And I don't know. Do you have a winner for what you saw the last couple days for pictures getting posted from NHL players? So I got not clear, but I've got my winner.
I mean, Puljujarvi, I guess is he even in NHL? Well, yeah. Did you see what he did? I
didn't see what he did this year. No, I didn't even know that he existed still.
I don't even think he's in the NHL. I think he's back in Europe, but it was. I don't know what that person is. I think it's some female rapper. I don't really know. Other people, my jaw hit the floor when I saw there were a few years where he's been like he comes out.
His a year or two ago, the one from Finding Nemo was just phenomenal.
Yeah, no, he takes it very serious. It's not a game to him. It's not supposed to be fun. It is. You have to. You play to win. Really, that's his deal with Halloween. But what was the one that was a clear winner for you?
Again, I said not clear, but my winner personally, just because of the tie, is Brady Tkachuk.
Oh yeah, that was good.
He and his lady were Will Ferrell's character Phil in Kicking and Screaming, and she was Ditka. Juice Box.
Phenomenal movie.
Way to go. For a PG movie, it's awesome.
Way to go. Way to go, Big Mo.
Make someone's clavicle on 3.
Oh, that movie.
Did you see the Wild team picture?
Nope, I've seen nothing.
Oh, the Wild have a team picture up with everybody's costumes, and some of them, like, you can't even tell who's which one, but winners in that. Matt Boldy was front and center with his girl. And have you seen the like viral Pete Davidson video where it's like the yeet, whatever, like it's like him and some other guy that just like make up some ridiculous rap on some talk show and some SNL skit. I don't know. It went pretty viral and they were each of those two characters. It was done pretty well. And then Goligoski and his wife were Harry and Lloyd on the
oh hell yeah
on the bike. It was pretty damn good.
Dude.
I posted that one as a solo shot. I'll just send that one over to you right now.
Oh, good. I won't get distracted.
Because you're not already distracted by 7 different things happening right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's every sport, but I do. It probably is, and I just only really follow hockey. They go all out, beyond all out.
I feel like
it's
hockey
impressive.
outdoes other ones. The best one, I can't remember if this was for Halloween or if it was just like a random team gathering, but not enough people talk about how great of a prankster Nick Bonino was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was literally dressed up as a fan, begging players on the team
was great.
for autographs.
Yeah, the seeker.
Yep. And then he shows up to the party as that person. They're like, how the fuck did this guy get in? And then it's him. They're like, you motherfucker. God damn it.
Yeah, he did that with his it was with his wife. I think it was, I don't know if he's done it more than once, but that was like when he was in Nashville, I think.
That was Nashville.
That was so funny. There have been a few, like BX did the same thing when he was hurt with Anaheim. He pretended to be one of the employees. And there was one time, he was one of the ice crew. And he was like beep beep on his way by. And he'd do the same thing to like the opposing bench. And he was just like shoveling snow into guys' ankles. And they're like, what the fuck, man? He goes, beep beep, sorry. And he was just pissing everybody off. And then I think it was Kessler that did the same thing, but he pretended to be like the security guy. When they come into the arena, they like go through the what's it called? The metal detector. And he had the wand out and he was like going up guys' legs and stuff. Like, yo, what the fuck? They was like, oh, sorry.
Oh, hang low. Okay. I DM'd you the photo.
I'll watch. I'll look at it. Maybe.
Yeah, I was just letting you know. That's all right. But yeah, that's really. So to your point, that is all that I care about for Halloween is all the great NHL costumes because there's generally some really good ones.
Yeah, and like outside of like just in real life, I've never been a big like take Halloween and like costume. I can't get myself to. I get annoyed by having to do anything. Like I also just get annoyed in general by if I'm going like to if my buddy's having people over at their house and he's like, oh, we're doing a theme. I'm like, well, that sucks. I really don't want it. Can I just show up? And they're like, yeah, but you'll be the only one not on theme. I'm like, oh, that's
my costume.
I guess I'll just stay home then. Let me know how it is because I just I can't think in general. Just I just can't think. So the having to think about a costume or a theme or just getting dressed up, it just annoys me. So I don't do it and I try to avoid it.
So, dude, this Philly Buffalo game, Farabee just scored. Shooting from we'll call it between the half wall and top of the circle, shoots it, and defensive player puts his stick like in the way right in front of it, and it ends up like trickle deflecting right into the top corner.
Right. Philly, best team in the league, obviously. Just fucking.
I mean,
doing the Tortorella start to the year
is the trick to having a better team, bringing Chuck Fletcher in for a few years so that your expectations are exponentially lowered. And then the second he leaves, it's like, holy shit, we're good.
It's just having John Tortorella be your coach from like preseason to game 14. And then, and then you have to fire him, bring him back in the next year until, then it just gets tricky when you want to be good.
Well, no, dude, can you imagine if they did that with coaches actually though? Like think about a bullpen for baseball. Like, have a staff of 5.
I was just going to say that'd be electric.
And, rotate them based on time of year. That could work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how you work out the salary and all that stuff, but I think there's something to that.
Bruce Cassidy's last year in Boston, I can't remember if he was like sick, but he missed a road trip. And I think it was Joe Sacco who was the head coach of the trip, and they like swept the road trip. And there was friction between the two coaches for the rest of the year until Joe Sacco left with the BU.
That's pretty funny.
Which is like incredible. Like, I think it was obviously more than like just the fact that fucking Sacco came in and like swept the Western road trip, but it was just a very funny, like, whatever, people were bored of Boston and had nothing to write about, which is not often, but they would just go to that if they wanted to like get mad at Bruce Cassidy if they'd lose like 2 games in a row. They're like, oh well, clearly this friction between him and his assistant coaching staff is really the problem. But it's just in my head, it's very funny. If you're the head coach, you miss a game, the guy wins, like, fuck that guy, I don't like him at all, fuck you. You're the goalie coach now. Fuck off. What do you think, you're fucking better than me? Yeah, that happened though. So that's why Bruce left, actually. That was it. Joe Sacco wasn't even here anymore. He's like, I can't, So he moved on, went to Vegas, won a cup, keep the change.
Yeah, might win another too, but we'll get into that more later.
Yeah, just kicking the shit out of everybody.
Couple of quick topics here, and then we're going to go into all of the potential overreactions here across the league. But this one might take a while here. This is a meaty one. Sens get sensed yet again. Like, I don't even know what to make of some of this shit. It's just
where do we even where do we start? Like,
all right, let's just start with first, because this is the only part where it's like a little funny to me. This would not have mattered. This would not have resurfaced. There'd be no penalties being doled out if it wasn't for Vegas wanting to be like, no, this isn't our fault, and you're going to admit it.
Okay. Can you lay out the actual scenario? Because again, as I said before, I have trouble with like just thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Let's break it down.
I saw this today, I was like, "Are you?" Yeah.
So for you and for anyone else that is wondering what the hell is going on here, because this is actually in no way tied to the Shane Pinto nonsense.
Already forgot about that because of this news dump today.
So Ottawa Senators traded Evgeny Dadonov to the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know how long ago that trade happened. And
this was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. And it was distant history, like whatever, no big deal. And this past year, as everyone remembers, because it was quite funny, Vegas Golden Knights decide they're going to trade Evgeny Dadonov to the Anaheim Ducks, to which he says, nope, they're on my no trade list. And they're like, ha, that's funny. You don't have a no trade list. And he's like, the fuck I don't. Turns out when the trade was made from Ottawa to Vegas, we don't know all the details yet, but essentially that wasn't disclosed. So whether they blatantly lied about it or didn't say anything, but maybe the burden of proof is on Ottawa to communicate that. I mean, fuck, everyone has a cap-friendly access, so, probably not too hard to figure out that a guy's got a no trade. But regardless, the blame is now being shifted to the Ottawa Senators for lack of communication around that. And again, it really stems from Vegas just wanting their names cleared in the absolute joke that was the attempted trade. By the way, shout out Evgeny Dadonov, because he torched for a couple games there before ultimately getting traded. But so now we land to today, the news breaking that the Ottawa Senators are being, they're forfeiting their first round pick, I believe, for next year.
Have they decided?
I don't know. I didn't see. I would think, it's either going to be 24 or 25. We'll see. But it is being forfeited. And immediately thereafter, we saw the firing of Pierre Dorion.
Resigning. The resignation.
It said that he was fired.
It did at first.
Okay. So he
Which
did
just
resign.
adds another wrinkle.
Which is hilarious, though, that it's like, hey, you're fired. He's like, wait, can I quit instead? And they're like, we already said you're fired. He's like, I don't care. I want to quit. They're like, sure. You quit. So whatever. So a couple of things to break down from this. And the key is kind of going through the history of the NHL and how consistent they are on penalizing teams. Let's go back to the New Jersey Devils. They had that 17-year contract for Ilya Kovalchuk, which is still just hilarious to go back and think about. And they were supposed to forfeit a more substantial pick. I think it was like they were supposed to lose their first, and there were supposed to be more things that happened. And ultimately, it went from losing their first entirely to being the last team to pick in the first round. Something of that ilk, because there was new ownership and they had no like foresight into what happened, right? Like they had no control. Then we got the Arizona Coyotes. They bring prospects in and start grooming them and testing them, whatever. It was a whole weird idea where the youngest GM ever, John Chaika, just thought, hey, no one's going to care about this, right? No one pays attention to the Coyotes, so it's no big deal. They end up forfeiting their first round pick. Now we go to this past year, where there's been a lot of, we'll just say there's been a lot of news around the Chicago Blackhawks. Oh, I don't know, give or take a decade plus of covering up sexual assault on one of their players, further going on to write a recommendation letter for the assaulter to go work with kids. And they get Connor Bedard. And that's within this past year. And so now we've got the Senators with a new owner stepping in, being told that he has to forfeit his first, that he's got a 41-game suspension for his player. And these are over miscommunication in a trade and betting on sports. And Chicago, I guess what the NHL is trying to say is that sexual assault's not a big deal.
They're gonna give Chicago another first round pick for it.
No, they get Ottawa's pick.
Yeah, they get the pick because they're great. So
that was a lot of words. You go ahead and take whatever part of that you want to jump in on.
So I'll start with the Dadonov one. That one was absolutely insane, obviously. Well, it all is. But I remember at the time, again, this is over 2 years ago. This is over 2 fucking years ago. And I remember at that time, like, actually diving into why it was such a big deal. Technically, letter of the law says it is on the team trading the player to disclose the no trade list. Well, that being said, that no trade list, very easy to sort out by talking to the agent before you trade the player. You can't just not look into it, because also the player that you're bringing in theory, you know that they have some kind of trade protection if they have that in their contract. The fact that you could even bring a player in without factoring that in that's a whole other fucking
like
problem,
why are you not looking into
like,
that
how
when
do you
the trade is made? Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. But now to your point though, on you have to talk to the agent and like figure that out. Not if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. They literally just trade people and they find out on the internet that they were traded. So this is a different beast we're talking about.
They actually just like offer first round picks in every single trade that they make. And they're like, I don't even know if we have one left. Let's just see if
they don't care about any penalties that might come down. Cause like what you're going to take away our 5th round pick. Okay.
But the fact that now the Ottawa Senators get docked for this, and the fact that it's a first round fucking pick, and the fact that it is the year, 2 years after the whole thing happened, and the year after the Vegas Golden Knights won the fucking Stanley Cup, this league is a fucking joke. It's the best league to watch. I love hockey, obviously. It's the only sport really that I watch religiously. It is the dumbest league in the world. There are a bunch of stupid assholes that run this fucking league and make decisions. I swear to God. How the fuck are you going to come back 2 years later? Like, part of me says they got a phone call from Vegas. Like, oh, yeah, we forgot about that. You know what? You're right. Fuck them. And hang up. Hey, Ottawa, you can pick which year you want to give up, but you're going to lose one. I think it was either 24 or 25. I can't remember if there was also an option for 26. But the fact that they also now get to choose which fucking first round pick they get to lose, it's a joke. Like, this league makes no fucking sense, dude. There's so many other problems for them to deal with. Like, no, we can't. Well, you're right. We can't let this go. We were letting it go for about a year and a half, 2 years plus. But you know what? Now that you bring it up again, we did forget about that.
We didn't care about it at all. But
these dudes.
Now we do.
Hang on. Insane to me, but the quotes from the owner
here it is.
of
Yep,
Ottawa, by the way, are
now.
absolutely incredible. Like, I just went through them. I was dying. I was just like,
so good,
incredible.
First off, I love him. Like, he's definitely my favorite owner now that he just like comes into the league and has no problem speaking his mind. But per Frank Saravalli, Sens owner Michael Andlauer says NHL did not advise him of either investigation, Bosch Dodonov no trade clause, or Pinto sports betting incident before he closed on purchase. In quotes here from Andlauer, maybe they didn't want to disrupt it to make sure the seller got the best price possible.
Absolutely, 100% accurate.
Oh, yes, it is. But it's great to hear him say it. Like, no one speaks out like that.
No,
this is awesome.
Yeah, I need him doing like post-game press conferences instead of coaches, instead of like, I want that guy. Every game.
Brady Tkachuk is up at the table. He's like, hang on, guys. Sorry, I'm getting tagged out here by Mike.
What just signed a $64 million deal? Yeah, that's cute. Nice. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, go sit down. I got this. The players will probably love it. They're probably like, yeah, go ahead.
Like, this our guy.
Unless they lose. But the other one that I loved, the other quote from him that I loved, I gotta find it. God damn it.
Just so it's
gone. No. It's I got it. Here it is. Here you go. Okay. First 30 days, or Michael Andlauer says, first 30 days of Sens ownership has exceeded his expectations by all aspects. The last 10 days, not so much. Quote, not been as much fun for me. It brought me back to earth. 3-game losing streak, 3 injuries, and 2 disturbing phone calls from the NHL. Just the fact that he called them disturbing. It's like, that's a good choice of words right there. But it's such a fucking... Yeah, they get to choose 24, 25, or 26. They lose a first-round pick. This is the dumbest league in the world. It's the dumbest run league in the fucking world. The fact that they landed on, well, we have to take their first-round pick, I guess. We have no other choice to 2 years later. It's unbelievable how they just love getting in their own way and making themselves look so dumb. Like, I feel like they should say, you know what, you all, like Vegas, for being morons and kind of like now being dicks about this 2 years later, you also lose a first round pick. Not that you care. It's not like you use it anyways. Like, I hate it. It's a joke. And what a goddamn week for the Ottawa Senators. Where should we go after this? Which fucking crises do we go to next? This Pinto situation? Because I thought that was going to be I thought the Pinto thing was going to be the biggest joke of the season before this. I actually think this is worse for me, just in terms of like the
way
really.
Worse. Especially the Pinto thing has evolved, and I don't think we have all the details, but it sounds like, from what like insiders like Friedman are saying, it sounds like Pinto is letting other people bet through his account.
Yep.
Which is just fucking dumb.
Not on hockey, and from a state where it's legal to bet, which I know that is, you're not allowed to do that. The fact that it's the 41 games thing, and like,
no, I get it.
It's just the fact that it was 41 games that you're making this kid lose half a fucking season.
I mean, in fairness, the games that he's not playing right now are counting towards it. So
it's like,
if anything, this is a godsend for the Senators, because they actually removed the December deadline for him to have a contract done, which again is the league moving goalposts. Like, well, since he can't play, like, we're okay with you guys signing him later if you want. Like, what?
Yeah. So at this point, like, I feel like if you're another team,
they won't announce the signing until after that's all played out, and then they've got time to figure out whether they want to do that or potentially trade him. But I don't know if teams are going to want him now. I mean, maybe the talent is enough that they'll go for it, but then you've got, are we in the playoffs or not? Like, how do we? Maybe someone goes on IR and it's easy that they can just add him then. Like, I don't know. It's funny.
And Carter Hart's hurt. But like a few other things that make this absolutely insane to me is like, so the fact, like you said, they're taking away the deadline for him they're counting the games that he's missing already because he's not signed. Like, they've counted these to the 41. And the fact that they, like you said, they took away the deadline for him to sign. If I'm another team, I'm sitting here saying like, okay, that was a ridiculous like penalty in the first place for this fucking kid. Second of all, so now clearly the rules aren't real. There are actually no rules in hockey. We'll just like kind of like oh, well, we kind of already made this decision, so let's just, like you said, move the goalposts a little bit here because we just realized what we said was really fucking stupid in the first place. We didn't think about the other things coming into play here. Okay, we'll just change the rules.
Well, now they're going to get all the backlash for this too, with like everything that's happening for that draft pick. And the league's going to come back and be like, well, okay, we're making you give up one of those firsts, but then we're going to give you an additional first in one of the other years.
But you get a compensatory second. How about that? Deal, guys? Deal? But the other thing with the Pinto, the league that just entered the betting sphere and like is just hammering advertising on like every betting site on the planet. Like, they're absolutely like, they dove in fully on sports gambling, and now they're gonna give this fucking Shane Pinto a suspension.
You don't think that their betting partners are fucking livid? Like, literally, the NHL is making a grand spectacle about how betting is bad.
Yeah, but they're also technically doing it like by the letter of the rules. So like, yeah,
I get it, but they've like made something that could have been brushed under the rug and dealt with a lot like more simply and quietly. Like, now this is was at the forefront for everyone until the Donov stuff, but it's, I don't know. I can't imagine that's great to your betting partners. Yeah.
And meanwhile, the picture that gets like used for the article is Shane Pinto, who on the helmet has the betting was it the fucking like the logo of the, was it Bet 365? I don't even remember which site it was, but on the helmet it's got, he probably used that site too. Or his buddy did. It's unbelievable. This fucking league is such a joke, dude. Like, whatever. They're exhausting. What a fucking league. What a fucking league. And now you got Steve Staios as GM of the Ottawa Senators. So,
is that official?
Yeah,
I missed that.
Named Steve Staios.
Damn. Yeah. And granted, I'm actually very happy for the Senators because like it could have gone real bad. The fact that immediately Peter Chiarelli was listed as one of the contenders for taking over that GM vacancy is just, how does he continue being a part of these conversations? Has anyone seen his track record at all?
Yeah. He's an interesting like case study. It's just like
I mean, let's just
somehow
go to the last decision he ever made as a GM.
yeah. Well, also I knew I think it wasn't a surprise that I guess he resigned, but I know it's been out there for a while that he was unlikely to finish the season as GM of the Ottawa Senators anyways. My buddy Martian, Lalim's Martian, had it a while ago, actually. He also had something with the Pinto situation too. But it's just like, I don't understand the NHL. Maybe I should stop trying to, and that's the key to finding happiness. It's just to like stop trying to like figure out what's going on and understanding any decision that gets made. But then so that's what I'll do. I'll just stop trying. But
I gotta say
the Ottawa Senators had a nice start to the season, and then like the universe was like, no, this doesn't seem right. No. Everyone's gonna get hurt again. Pinto suspension for half the year. Resignation of the GM. And just to make sure that there's something shitty in the horizon, we're gonna take a first round pick actually too.
Great one. So our buddy Carlo, who covers Vegas, he always crushes the meme game, and immediately after the Shane Pinto stuff started getting released, he posts the video of Mark Stone doing the slot machine out at center ice, and immediately just plays Mark Stone has actually been banned from NHL participation.
I give up.
All right. Let's turn the page on the Sens stuff, and condolences to any Ottawa Senators fan. Like, I only wish this fate on Philadelphia fans, really. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Couple positive notes for the Minnesota Wild, though. Matt Boldy is gonna play. He is back. He is doing the hockey thing.
Yeah. When's there? Is it tomorrow? Well, or when this is coming out?
When this is out on podcast, it was last night.
All right. So he is going to play last night, which is
we did this before, and it damn near concussed you.
Here we are.
Matt Boldy is going to play last night.
Is going to play yesterday. Thank God. I didn't need any positive going on in the land of the Minnesota Wild. Because last week, I think where I landed was I'm still trying to figure out what exactly this fucking hockey team is. Got a pretty good lesson the following 7 days, and here we are. So thank God we've got Matt Boldy coming back, because Jesus Christ, do they need just about every facet of his game. So thankfully he is back again. I feel like when the injury first happened, it was like not great, but better than the Spurgeon situation, which panned out to be exactly right. But either way, just thank God he's back, and we'll see how that goes, I guess. But I think they're desperate, just like all of us, for any positive updates, positive news on that front for sure.
Yes, that is good. And then I don't know why, but as a result, the line rushes that were released today, did you see what the lines are now?
Nope, of course I didn't.
So very funny to me, and probably only me. The third line is Marco Rossi centering Marcus Foligno and Pat Maroon. And that, I don't know. That's just
they've ran that
hilarious to me.
Yeah, they've ran two just absolute meat sticks on the side of 5'9" Marco Rossi. Yeah, it's the best.
It's awesome. Now, hang on.
But I feel like they ran with that in the preseason though too.
Yeah, but they haven't done it in the regular season.
Right. I think they've just had like
the maroon video of just getting lit up, people calling him fat, and he's like, dude, I play in the same league as you. Like, sick chirp.
Come up guess who it was. Guess who it was that said,
that's why I brought it up, because it's your favorite player.
The biggest, well, one of the biggest losers in the NHL, Nick Cousins, who I actually realistically shouldn't be allowed to talk shit about anymore because he did his thing in the playoffs last year, and somehow on a Stanley Cup final team, he was on their first goddamn line and producing.
Well, that's why they lost.
Yeah, exactly. What a fucking loser. And like, it's also just unbelievably Nick Cousins to like, that's his chirp. The thing that's been at this point overblown. Jack Edwards got canceled for the 14,000th time last year for like not even being mean about it, but just saying that he's big, and everyone lost their mind. Obviously, I put out the video a couple of years ago when fucking Montour called him Fat Pat when the camera was just directly on Brandon Montour's face, and it was the easiest lip read of all time. Like, it's at the point where it's like, that's what you're gonna come up with right now, really. But that being said, I guess that's all he's got, because he's lighting it up right now, dude. That guy just cannot stop producing points. So, but yeah, no surprise, Nick Cousins said something unoriginal, not funny, immediately looked like a loser. And he stinks. So yeah, couldn't be less surprised.
Unsurprising. But yeah, Boldy back, positive. Damon Hunt got his first sniff of play, got sent down and brought back up. I feel so bad for some of the guys that are literally just gonna have to make that drive down 35W and come right back, because we have to make it work on paper.
Yeah, well, part of it is that you're gaining cap space by doing that too.
No, I know. I'm just saying I feel bad for the player who has to do it.
Well, how long did he even play in Iowa?
You still have to physically go, otherwise the paper transaction can't happen.
I don't think is that true? Because I know for a fact they like it.
You don't remember earlier in the year us talking about like having Matt Boldy, who was like waiver exempt, have him go down and just like take a party bus with the boys, get to Iowa.
Yeah, because it would be funny, but I don't think they actually have to go.
I've been wrong a lot of times, so maybe I am, but I was pretty confident that that's the case.
Because I know a lot of times, usually the paper transactions, they tell them like, don't go, like you're staying, like you'll be back up, or it's like for the day technically. So they get the casting. I don't think you actually have to go. That would be wild, because there are teams. Well, there's teams whose NHL and AHL teams are just not remotely close to each other. Like,
I know that makes it way funnier. Like this one is like way more doable.
Well, imagine like Edmonton and Bakersfield, like they gotta fucking cross the border. Just go fly.
Imagine Carolina, who doesn't have a team.
Like, well, that's the thing. Where do I go? I don't know. Just get the hell out of here.
Just fucking go somewhere.
Go wherever you want. I don't care.
Go wherever you want. You just can't stay here.
I really don't think. I can't imagine.
Well, all right. We don't have to debate that anymore. Damon Hunt, though, first stint in the NHL. What did we think? And what are we looking for moving forward from him?
Yeah, I mean, I thought for the most part, like, he looked fine. Like, there were a few plays where like, oh, like good play. There were a couple plays where like, oh, and that's very much a first NHL game, first NHL experience mistake, but like nothing I didn't think that stood out like crazy. I mean, there's one common theme with him is the kid fucking plays hard, so he's not afraid of, I mean, anything. At this point, he's been hurt every way possible, so he's got no fear. And again, the fact that he's had as many injuries as he's had along the way to get to the NHL and get that game, first of all, is awesome. So I was just happy to see that, like, because I mean, we've been watching him for years now at this point, and it's like, it's always, I've said this before too, just covering the prospects more so than like the NHL team in general. Like it's always fun when they actually cut, like you've watched them in juniors, watching the AHL, and they finally make it up. Obviously it's even better when it's like for a full-time job, which like, so when Duhaime came up, it was really cool for me, just like tracking him for the past couple of years and then seeing him like go full circle and now obviously firmly an NHL player. So that's always fun. But like there have been a few bad injuries for Daemon Hunt. So very cool, very happy for him. And again, like I think he earned another run at it. And at this point, with how this defense is going, might as well just let him fucking cook. Because like, God, Jesus Christ. And I think it was Mateo maybe that said this before, but like if they want to run 7D, we know that Daemon Hunt knows how to forecheck and can basically play a forward position as a defenseman. So perfect candidate for that. If they want to go 7D, just have him go take line rushes. So I think it was Mateo I saw that said that a while ago. He may have been like doing like line rushes in a practice or something, but it's a good shout.
All right. Fair. But yeah, that's really all we've got right now to look forward to for the Wild, because it's been very, very ugly of late.
Pretty not awesome.
To your point on the defense, though, like Joe Smith just released today or just released 2 days ago on podcast, an article on Matt Dumba, because he went out to Arizona and followed them around for a few days and got an interview and wrote something up. Wow, the people that wanted him gone were just misguided souls, we'll say.
Whoops. I mean, that was always like the takes on him were so bad that no matter what he did, no matter what the Arizona Coyotes did, if he put up like 1 point, it was okay. So all the people were fucking like, now you look stupid. With how ridiculous some of these fucking takes on Matt Dumba over the years have been. No matter what he did, everyone was gonna look stupid. That just some unhinged fucking like commentary.
This is less about him too, because like he has like looked good out in Arizona, but just seeing this defense fall apart and even seeing like Brodin not look like himself, like people are, whether they'll say it out loud or not, they're like, I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, I get with the theme of young player. I mean, Brock Faber. So happy that he is just firmly an NHL defenseman. Like, if you're looking for,
he's firmly a number one NHL defenseman.
I know, right? Like, throw him out there for 28. Like, I don't care. Throw him out there half the game. I don't give a fuck. Fuck, I put him on PP1 too. Just kidding.
That's the one you missed, man. You'd love this. You would absolutely die. From the Halloween costumes, Dakota Mermis was Brock Faber.
I love that rule. By the way, Dakota Mermis looks good too. Like, I've liked how he's played.
He's been solid, yeah.
And he's producing a couple points here and there too. So that's another young defenseman that looks good. So
great comment on that though from Cosgrove. Cosgrove replied underneath. Someone took an ISO shot of it, like, "Oh, look, he dressed up as Brock Faber." He's like, "Dress for the job you want."
Yeah, that's good. Oh, fuck. A couple years ago in Boston, it was Matt Grzelcyk, and I can't remember who the other one was, but they were Jack and Brick, the Bruins announcers for Halloween, and like they nailed it. It was really funny. I would imagine that whoever was Jack was screaming. He is. He was probably just running around that party screaming, but Jack, I don't know what's going on, but he is fully up the deep end. That
was another one from our boy Carlo out in Vegas. It was Stone and his significant other. They were the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
Yep.
And the comment was, "Oh, awesome. Mark Stone was Jack Eichel for Halloween this year."
Oh,
And it was actually like so spot on.
oh, that's good.
Oh, God damn it. All right. Anything else you want to get to before we go into what'll be an interesting attempt at overreactions?
Nope. We should. Well, actually, so the last thing I was gonna say too is another update from Joe Smith that was at least somewhat positive. The fact that Spurgeon is at least skating. and being and out there.
Sorry, the more important update from Joe Smith was the Wild do in fact practice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
fans were losing it over that.
Yeah.
Does this team even practice?
Oh,
it's fun. But yes, getting Spurgeon back would be very fun. And then people can complain about how small he is again and say that he needs to be traded and that they can't win in the playoffs with him, just like everything they did with Dumba. It's perfect.
Yeah, but then legally they have to say about every single other player on the roster that's ever played for the Minnesota Wild in the playoffs. Like, yeah, it's
except for Faber. He is the only one that I have not seen criticism for. I haven't seen much for Brodeen, but like, I don't think a fan has said a negative thing about Faber unless it was purely in retaliation for being upset that Fiala's gone.
He's young. I hate him. Okay.
You are not Kevin Fiala. No, I'm not.
No, he is not, I guess.
Okay. What if Brock Faber found a way to be Kevin Fiala for Halloween? That would have been electric.
I would have been all in on Halloween. Single-handedly turned me around.
I'll go to that theme party.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, let's just dive into it then. October reactions. Basically, everyone freaks out after 7 to 10 games and decides teams' fates, even though they forget that the St. Louis Blues in 2019 were the worst team in the league in January, then won the cup. So just chill out. But Andy Bernard punches a hole in the wall after his phone annoys the hell out of him in the ceiling, and that was an overreaction. Sending me to management training, anger management training, but still management material. All right, so we're gonna go through. I mean, some of these might be pretty brief and quick, but gonna try and get something for each team that's overreaction worthy here, and we're just gonna go by division. So we'll start with Z's not only division, the Atlantic Division, but we got his Boston Bruins, and the October reaction here for Boston. Are they better without Patrice Bergeron?
Well, obviously.
Or better yet, is your new boy Poitras better than Patrice Bergeron?
That's the bigger question, obviously. Stay Hot spoke Z. One of my buddies who is in OHL Scout messaged me during the preseason and was like, how many games you think Poitras gets this year? And I, like, knowing Boston and how they've always operated, and I just figured they would continue to, I was like, knowing them, I would imagine they're going to do everything. If they really will probably avoid ever calling him up until the end of the year. He is now playing in his 10th game and will be here the whole season. So stay hot at me. Good call. Fucking loser. The best part about this start for the Bruins is literally everybody is like, no, this is horrible fucking news. Every time we do this, we immediately lose in the first round. Tell you what, the proof's of the pudding. Same shit last year. Now they're off to an even hotter start.
So there's the October reaction. We started too hot. We're gonna lose in the first round.
Yeah, and I was talking to our buddy Ty, who covers the Bruins for the Sports Hub. He's like, you can't fucking win because I have people telling me every fucking day that all of these wins mean nothing because they're against not good teams. They lose one game in very funny, ridiculous fashion where they blow a lead in the last minute and a half of a game, a 2-goal lead. And now everyone floods his mentions. It's like, see, they suck. It's like, okay, but I thought these games didn't matter anymore until the playoffs. So that's the best part about, there's just never anything good apparently going on in Boston, despite the fact that their average like winning percentage every year is like, they win like 65% of their fucking hockey games. But everyone's like, no, hate them. No, we cannot. We don't like them.
One positive, and we'll spend a little bit more time on the teams that we are closer to, so we can take a couple minutes here on the Bruins, but McAvoy didn't get suspended for 20 games. That's positive.
Yeah, no, he got the 4-game sussy at like an hour and a half after I tweeted Charlie McAvoy is an absolute fucking wrecking ball. He disintegrates people immediately.
They cited that in a cheering. They're like, case in point, a @SpokedZ.
No, someone just showed him the tweet. Someone showed him the tweet during intermission. He was like, oh, wait till you see what I have up my sleeve next. It just comes out. Fuck. He's been unbelievable too. But now it looks like Mason Lowry, another young prospect. At this point, he's not really young anymore, but looks like he's going to get his debut.
He's Boston young.
Awaited. Yeah, exactly. So the overreaction in Bruins land is probably, they're clearly better without Bergeron, but that's a bad thing. So here we are. It's crazy. You can't, if you're happy in Boston, if they have like above 500 winning percentage, you're an idiot. Clearly, like you've never watched this team before. You'll never be happy.
I mean,
even when they win the cup. Oh, if they got lucky, easy path to the cup.
Brad Marchand, best captain in Bruins history. Some are saying.
Yeah, many. All.
There's still people that are like so upset that he's the captain, and it's like, Jesus Christ, touch grass.
They never will. They hate that.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres. All I had for this one is forever the same. Like, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. They are the same Buffalo Sabres that are not allowed to participate in postseason play.
Yeah, clearly. A mind-boggling start. If you were to pick one team that would be dead last in the Atlantic Division after 9-10 games, I can't imagine that they would have been at the top of your list here. But here we are. And I mean, they've kind of, strung together a couple of good performances last few games, but like, it's been bad. Like giving up goals left and right, not really putting up 6 a game like we're used to. Like they're probably giving up the same amount, but they're also just not scoring 6 goals a game. I have a hard time seeing them staying this average because I don't even think the Atlantic has just been good.
I also think the real October reaction here is Devin Levi's a bust.
Yeah, he's a bust. Tage Thompson wasn't for real. That was just a thing of our imaginations.
He is definitely not 7'3" anymore.
Yeah, no, he's basic. He's 5'4". The problem is Zach Benson, getting the start out of the gate in the NHL. Should have sent him back to not Winnipeg, Wenatchee.
That's more. That's a bad trigger word. Trigger name.
But definitely just a weird start. Like,
yeah.
We'll see what happens. The Atlantic is so weird right now. Like, I mean, Montreal's third.
That's going to stay.
Uri Slafkovsky doing nothing. Their first overall pick for 2 years ago. That's the thing.
See, hey, Sens fans, rest easy. First overall picks don't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, which I think as of now with October reactions, you and I both have to eat a lot of crow here for the Detroit Red Wings, who maybe the Yzer plan has not failed after all. That's the first one. But for me, the real headline is Alex DeBrincat, Rocket Richard? Question mark.
What a start. And
Oh my God.
He desperately needed this kind of a start to basically just, I don't know, even just keeping everyone off his back about it, really. Because it felt like
turns out leaving Ottawa was the right call.
Everyone's like, oh, is he right about that? All right.
He knew. He's like, yeah, shit's about to blow up. I'm just going to get out.
Dude, him and Larkin are so fun. And another one that I think is making people eat a lot of crow, half myself included, is Dylan Larkin, number 1 center or 2. Yeah, I think he might be.
But you didn't think he was the number 1 center?
I have him on I have like a firm elite 2. Like
So,
that was
you've got him in the Ring of Honor. Okay.
Yeah. Dude, he looks
the Ring of Honor that you condemned
too. I hate the Ring of Honor. Yeah, I think it's he looks so fucking good, dude. Like, he's so fun to watch. And part of it is I think he's just, with Larkin specifically, he's gotten so much better at just being like in the middle of the ice, but making plays happen. Not like when they were really bad, he ended up like oftentimes just like drifting out wide. Not really drifting out wide, but like he was like, well, I'm not going to come like get the puck, or I'm not going to try to come get the puck because I'm not getting it anyways. Like no defenseman could give it to him. Yeah, they had nobody there. But my God, it's very fun to watch. And turns out DeBrincat was correct if going to find that opportunity in Detroit. We'll see if they can sustain it. I still have question marks about that defense, but doesn't really matter when you're like, I think they've put up 40 goals. I think they're averaging 4 goals a game right now. I think they've put up 40 in 10 games last time I checked. But the NHL is better when teams like Detroit are good. And I want that barn rocking. They got Eminem goal song now too. The goal song is just cranking. But holy shit. I was questioning. I still want to see more. Obviously, we are 10 games in for them, but
Sure.
It's fun watching him and Larkin cook. And I mean, Raymond's nasty too. And David Perron somehow just continues to, 1, be a prick all the time, but 2, just be effective, whether or not he's on the score sheet for them. So,
yeah,
they look fun as hell. And it's like they've turned themselves. They were must-watch TV for a while because of how horrendous they were. They were like, "This is technically an NHL team. Watch this shit." Now it's like I just want to turn any Red Wings game on just to watch it because it's such fun hockey. Like a million miles an hour.
I'll still maintain that the jerseys are ugly as sin.
I was very mad when they switched the lettering, like the font on the back, to their like little block. Like I liked the jerseys when they were the old, like the numbers and letters were way like.
See, I'm more
like
upset
narrow,
that they
bigger.
continue to do their bullshit with the captain's patch on the wrong side.
Oh yeah,
It's a joke.
That's pretty funny though. I love their reverse retros a couple years ago. Those are sick.
Damn, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. We gotta move.
Yeah, we're moving on. I mean, Florida Panthers, October reaction. Biggest collapse since Montreal 2021.
I feel like fairly predictable.
You and I, okay, so we both had to eat crow for Detroit. I feel like I was the lowest on the Florida Panthers coming in with our preseason predictions, and you were pretty close there with me.
Yeah, they're gross to watch. Like they're like they have Nick Cousins. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, not surprised. And I think I don't see them being bad enough to completely miss the playoffs, not have a shot. Like I have them missing the playoffs, but
they'll miss, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, they never had a chance. Like they'll be.
It's not going to be like it's not going to be like I bet they sell. It's not going to be one of those. It's like scratching and clawing, and this time probably not having it to get there because they are not the same. Obviously, when they were never going. We'll
to see once they get a couple of their key guys back too, right? Like injuries matter, but they shouldn't matter this much. Then again, look at the Wild. All right, we'll reserve comment. Next one up, October reactions for the Montreal Canadiens.
Best team in the league, third in the division.
Third in the division, so you say. I mean, what do we even do with that information?
Another team, Cole Caulfield, fun. It's just crazy looking at the guys that aren't really doing much and producing, and they're still somehow winning hockey games. That
was part of my thing, though, here. So, as an overly aggressive October reaction, they're kind of the new Edmonton Oilers, even though they don't have as many first overalls. Like, it's these high-touted, like, young kids prospects that just, like, aren't really doing it. Like they look okay, but like the team doesn't really improve notedly. Like it looks good right now, but like also there's a lot of guys that we thought would be doing a lot better than they are.
And here's the thing. I have not, like, of all the teams that I have actually watched this season, the Montreal Canadiens might be at the very bottom of that list. So I'll like catch segments of games, like 5-10 minutes. I'll just like go switch over just to see what the game. Usually it's because I want to watch the other fucking team. And I have at no point have I tuned in to a Canadiens game where they're kicking the shit out of anybody except for the Minnesota Wild. And I actually had to do a double take. I was like, wait, they're 5-2-2? I would have.
I like you said that, and I was like, wait, I was not aware of that.
You're 5-2-2. I'm like, wait, what? Pardon? What? So
pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Where I'm at with them. But yeah, best team in the league, third in the division.
There we go. Now, we've already pretty much covered ad nauseum, but October reactions for Ottawa Senators. NHL won't let them succeed. Alex DeBrincat saw the future and knew that they were a sinking ship. They hit the iceberg. Like, what do we got here? Anything?
They're so fun to watch when healthy. And I really, up until like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, really, I was like, wow, that's the one that I'll be big time wrong on. Because I had them missing the playoffs. I had the Sabres being the ones that if Detroit or Ottawa would sneak in or like finally make it. Didn't have Ottawa there, and everything started off so fun, so good, and then it all went to hell.
If we recorded this yesterday, we'd probably be talking like playoff push. So,
well, if they've lost the last three and they've looked like shit in those 3 games, like they've looked terrible in those losses.
That's the thing, though. They're the team, though. Like we talk about this all the time. They're a team that when they win, they look unstoppable, and when they lose, they lose. Like they're very Pittsburgh Penguins-esque. Like there's no in between. You either dominate or get dominated.
Right. Yeah. So I really don't even know. Really, again, another one that I'm like, I could see them like the last couple games just be a complete like. I was gonna say one off, but that's not possible when it's more than one game, I guess. One off in terms of like a week. I don't know.
God, what was it? Ava. Shit. Is it like Tarrant or something?
Oh yeah.
She had posted a screenshot of like a conversation where it's just from dad, and it says, "Did you leave the stove on?" house is on fire. And she said that was Alfredson to the Sens.
Oh, God, that was the thing too. He entered the fold too. It was like, oh, the vibes are immaculate. Everything's great. Nope, everything went to hell.
I think it's all his fault. They shouldn't have brought him back. He's a loser.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Ottawa Senators fan base, as everyone knows. I have the honor of being an honorary sicko. My good buddies at Locked On, my good buddy Lalim Martian. It's also way more fun watching hockey when they're happy and the Ottawa Senators are good. So, yeah, I know, right? But I'm still just they're gonna be good, and they'll flirt with playoffs still. I believe in them because I want to, because it's way more fun.
Fair enough.
Killed him.
October reactions for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Do they capitalize right now, free up some cap space to maneuver a little bit on their depth and their blue line by trading Andrei Vasilevsky because they clearly don't need him?
Obviously, yeah.
Jonas Johansson has been good.
He's another one of those goalies that it's like he'll make a few insane saves and then he'll let in the funniest goal I've ever seen in my life. Like one of the first games, like it was like a rolling puck and it, from distance, and it just went through his legs. And I immediately thought back to the tweet when he got traded to Colorado, or they picked him off waivers from Buffalo. I forget who it was that covers the Sabres. The word for word, it was Jonas Johansson is without a doubt the worst NHL goaltender I have ever seen.
There was a bad stretch there.
I was like, that's insanely, why did you do, he's leaving Buffalo and you covered the Sabres. Why did you have to say
it's also funny because I think there's been enough time that a lot of people just don't even remember that. This is a new goalie. This is like a 23-year-old rookie that no one's ever heard of.
Well, it went from the Tampa Bay Lightning have signed this goalie, and they're like, all right, doesn't matter. He's going to play 12 games, maybe, because Vasilevsky plays every minute of every game, doesn't get pulled. And then they were like, Vasilevsky's out for several months, and everyone's like, oh, they are fucked. This sucks. This isn't good.
Just straight up semi-pro. Everybody panic. Cover your sodas. Do we love sugar?
Oh, fuck. I Kucherov is so fucking good at hockey. It is.
You know what though? That we got to take one more victory lap for the kid because so much shit was doled out over that trading for Hagel. He has been everything they needed and more. That guy has just been the perfect acquisition.
Seriously.
The anti-Gino.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. He is a goddamn animal.
Yeah. That's always been true.
Yep.
All right. Let's then get to the last one. Isha's personal favorite. Toronto Maple Leafs. My October reaction here for them is Joseph Woll the missing piece?
I think a lot of people would have been pretty, maybe not. It's weird. I'm trying to figure out, not confident, but optimistic. If that, you know what I'm trying to say? It's just hey, we've seen it before. He should be able to be solid.
Cautiously optimistic, yeah.
Cautiously optimistic, I guess. Because when they've used him, he's been fine. Fine or very good. And I think if you asked the 0.07% of reasonable Toronto Maple Leaf fans, they would have said the same thing about it's okay to be not doomsday scenario terrified of Joseph Wallach playing a lot this season.
Isha unhinged.
Oh God, that's what a fucking comment.
Of course, he waits until he's back in Canada to make a comment like this. Coward. Yeah, it's, you know what? Less so than Wall. I think the most intriguing thing for me, there's no way in hell they can re-sign Nylander, right?
That's my favorite part of this, because forever they have said, we got to get rid of Nylander. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, outside of the 1 year that he signed, he's been worth 2.5 times that fucking contract that he's. And, you know, one player that consistently has brought it almost every year in the playoffs for them is fucking William Nylander. And now he is once again just doing his thing. And again, the fact that he was like, I'm not talking about contract. They know what I want. Like, we'll figure it out later.
Head numbers move a little bit.
Let's see if I ball out this season. And he starts off once again incredibly hot. The kid's so fucking good.
He's weirdly one of those guys, though, that does not give a like. A lot of players would be rattled in that media with everything that team deals with, and in a contract year, and everyone thinks that he should go, and he's a greedy piece of shit when everyone else is making bank, and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna come and do my thing.
And like, I feel like I was saying this like 2 years ago, where it was just like, forever the commentary's been Nylander's this, Nylander's that, gotta trade him, gotta do whatever, like trade him to sign a good defenseman. And they brought in some like good defensemen, still suck. And I was like, so the guy that's consistently giving you exactly what he should based on a contract or more, that's the guy you really want to. I've always been so confused by like the Nylander hate, outside of them, like that fan base just like being sick of not having Wendell Clark or a player like that who could put up every point or put up points in every game and beat the shit out of everybody in the league. That's the guy. That's the guy that's got to go. What? Because he's like the Swedish kid that has fun and puts up like 70, 80, 90 points consistently and brings it in the playoffs too. Like, you want to find a guy to like fucking that you're going to decide has to go. You pick William Nylander, the guy who's making $6.9 million. It's always been crazy to me. So I hope he puts up like 120 points this year, and they have to just let him walk because they can't give him 10 million.
He is just one player outside of like my all swoon line. If I had to pick guys that aren't on the teams that I care about, like he is the fourth guy out of who would make up that first three. I've just loved him since the beginning. I hope that he makes absolute bank, and I hope he shoves it to Toronto. I can't wait for them to not be able to trade him because of how good the team is doing, and then probably lose in the first round and watch everything melt. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they do somehow get it done. But like,
how?
Based on, I don't know. I have no idea. But because like, I get like, based on.
You know what? Now that I think about it, that Klingberg signing was real fucking smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
There's 4 million of the 10 that can't be recouped. Or no, 4.5.
Yeah, at least they gave Reeves 3 years.
3 years, but 175, like that's still a lot for what he is, but Klingberg getting 4.5. Are you kidding me?
Also, like 90% of the reason people don't like Nylander is because he doesn't fight everybody, whatever. You bring in Ryan Reeves, they get like the exact player that they really want. Like, no, but he can't score 40 goals and put up 50 assists too. And it's like, oh, okay. So now you don't want him on the ice. They're like, oh, this is great. You can they have one extreme. They're like, what if we pull in the polar opposite? And everyone's like, no, that sucks. This is terrible. Everything's awful.
They said that Dubas was bad, so I'm just going to do the opposite of what Dubas says. That's great. Yeah, they did. That was something. for real, October aside, right? Like, what is your prediction for Toronto? Can they win 2 playoff rounds? Is that in the cards for them this year? Or is it same old Toronto, make it to the first round, maybe win that, but that's the best you're going to get?
Yeah, I mean, I can still see them winning the division. I can still see them at least getting to the conference final. Like, they're that good. Like, I still think that they are ridiculously good.
They are,
yeah.
But they were ridiculously good last year.
Right. I don't know.
I that loser Cousins.
Yeah, fucking unbelievable. Was it him that scored the series winner too? Was it him? So I remember being like, of course it was fucking Nick Cousins. I remember tweeting that out. I was like, of course it's fucking Nick Cousins. But I still could. I mean, if you told me that they were gonna win the cup, I'd be like, God damn it. I wouldn't be shocked. Because I'm that good, but I would hate to see it, just like I think everyone else in the hockey universe.
Fair. All right, before we go into anything else, got to throw one up here from our boy Mean Mark AWA. Threw us some money for this one too. Gotta love it for the boys. That's like half a beer for you in Boston, Z. Enjoy.
Yeah. No, that you can put down you can put down a deposit on 1 Bud Light at the bar for a week and a half from now. You can put out the security deposit.
So is Charlie Stramel injured, or did he just get Mike Hastings? I checked Minnesota, Wisconsin box scores and didn't see him. Looks like he hasn't played since October 14th. I'm convinced that it's because he doesn't have his AARP card. Z, you can tell him what the truth is.
Right. Yeah, no, so we saw reports a couple weeks ago that he did get hurt in practice. Don't know much more other than that. I could probably try to figure that out, but I know that it sounded not great, but no one said like this is like season ending or this is a major injury or whatever or anything like that. It was hurt in practice out for the like, I think the words that I saw were like foreseeable future, where I was like, that kind of sounds shitty. And they are, what do you know? They're good now. So fuck.
Yeah, they looked not bad, unfortunately.
But yes, he is hurt. He's not getting benched. He's not getting Hastings. So well, I really hope it's not much longer, because I really want to see him on a good fucking college hockey team. Because like Charlie Stramel is the ideal like old school college hockey guy that he's got so much skill. He is mean, super physical, but again, he's got that like offensive upside too, that he could be like the perfect college hockey player. And of course, now that Wisconsin is very good, top, I think last I saw they were 13th, but then they beat Minnesota, so I would imagine.
I think they're up to like 5 or 6 now. Which I think is a little aggressive, but I mean, kudos to them. Like, they were good. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah, we'll see.
Like that's the thing. It's like that feels excessive, but at the same time, I literally have 0 negative words to say about how they're playing.
Right.
So,
but guess what? Now there's expectations. Let's see how they do the next 2 weekends with those expectations set. And if they keep doing it, we got to change our tune, and they're for real. Z's running up a little bit on time here, so we're going to rapid fire a little bit of this. We're going to still hit on some key ones in each of these divisions. Metropolitan, really the only ones that stood out for me were New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes for the Hart Trophy. We got the New York Rangers, Jonathan Quick putting up better numbers than Igor Shesterkin. And this is unfortunate. These next 2, Pittsburgh Penguins. Do they have to consider firing Mike Sullivan? That one hurts me to write. And Washington Capitals, Gretzky's record has never been safer.
Yeah.
Hit on any of those you want, but Metro Division, go.
I have no idea what the fuck to make of this division anymore. That's
it's
overall
the best division,
take.
right? It has to be. Top to bottom, it has to be the best division.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's not a lie.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, hard to argue when you just look at each team, like into like the average, like when you average out the whole division, like team by team. Yeah, probably, because I think they've got the most teams that are just like, hey, would you be shocked if this team made the playoffs?
Could feasibly make the playoffs.
So there, yeah.
And the top end, though, the top end is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one I was dying laughing because Ovechkin had that start to the my god, and god damn it, it sucks. Nick Backstrom stepping away from hockey for slow. Now. Well, Backstrom stepping away from hockey, which really sucks. Like,
yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, it worked out great for me though that I've been making jokes like showing like elderly people in GIFs whenever like the Capitals do anything. And then they come out for the shootout against the Wild, and everyone went as slow as humanly possible on their shots. It's like, oh my God, they actually have walkers. Okay.
More proof that they read our stupid tweets. But I think it was, I can't remember if it was the game that they finally won, but Ovechkin ended up average. I think he totaled 14 shots on goal. It was just like, oh, okay. Okay.
Had to one up Bedard's shot totals.
Yeah, he's like, he's doing what? I still think they fucking stink. I don't care that they've won 3 in a row now, I guess. I don't care. I think that team is just brutal. They're not fun to watch either. I really do not enjoy the Washington Capitals. So they are with that. We'll see what happens. But I am actually one more intrigued by New Jersey's are. I don't think they were ever going to replicate the year they had last year because like there were teams that like exceeded expectations, and then there were the New Jersey Devils. And the Boston Bruins, I guess, at that point last year. We don't have to talk about them though. But I think they're coming back down to earth. But the thing is, like, the offense is still exactly what it was. Like, that's exactly what I expected, but I couldn't possibly see the defense doing the same thing they did last year. And you've got like Luke Hughes, who is pretty much off to the kind of start I would have expected, where like super fun to watch, still learning, but I love that they're just, again, letting him cook and playing him a lot. Like, I love that approach with those kind of like young players where it's like, let him go, dude. Like, I hate when like prospects with that kind of skill set, yeah, they'll get their NHL games, but we're going to put a leash on them or we're going to play them 10, 11, 12 minutes. It's like, no, dude. Like, if he got picked where he got picked for a reason, he's got
I'm going to end up having to eat that one, by the way. I laughed at him where his Calder odds were. And he is currently leading rookies in scoring. So, yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Stay hot, me.
But I think we should finish this off with you. Just give me the full rundown on the Pittsburgh Penguins, because all I can say really is they just are so creative in finding the weirdest, most ridiculous, and like pretty painful ways to lose. That last one against Anaheim was stunning, I guess, to say this. Shout out, by the way, last thing, and then I'll let you go. Mason McTavish off to an absolute fucking rip for the Anaheim Ducks to start the year. Love that for him. Love that.
Ducks
player.
have just
been.
Go ahead. Dostal is the one that's really the one to talk about for the Ducks too. He has been something. Like, he is going to be a dark horse for the Calder. Penguins, it's again, to prove that I am not a biased individual, I have beat the drum for the better part of 3 or 4 years saying that Mike Sullivan gets no respect should be in the Jack Adams conversation every year for what he does with depleted rosters, gets the best out of his guys.
I'm right there with you.
He is a mess this year. He has done nothing.
Yep.
He's not really making changes either. Like we've seen historically, you look even back to last year, Ricard Raquel and Evgeny Malkin do not work. It's not a thing. We've seen Raquel succeed on the first line with Crosby. Like that's just a simple example that he's just not even considering doing. The biggest issue for me, to be completely honest, is that Kyle Dubas, sight unseen, came in and decided doubling down on Tristan Jarry was the move. And oh boy, it's early, so maybe an overreaction, but he has been brutal. And I've seen him at his best. Like he is, if he's on his game, he's a top 10 goalie in the league. He hasn't been on his game for a while. And they just signed him for 5 years. I am scared. They are bad. The roster, I'm still not worried about. They've got the pieces on the blue line. They've got the forward group. I'm really hoping that Dubas pulls a big swing here because I know that Isha's Vancouver Canucks are trying to bring in a defenseman. EOJ for Niels Hoglander, straight up, sounds real fun. And I know Rutherford likes him, and Isha will continue to deny this, but Jim Rutherford is the GM of that team, regardless of what anyone's title says.
Yeah.
And he loves him picking up defensemen. He loves guys that he picked up in the past. I think that could be in the cards. And Jesse Marshall of The Athletic, of all people, will probably have a heart attack from overexcitement if that trade happens. Because I don't think I have not seen someone more enthused by Niels Hoglander's play than Jesse Marshall. But no, Penguins bad right now. I am not writing off the season, but we've seen this in years before where the Pittsburgh Penguins, every time they won a cup, it was because they had a midseason firing. They brought in someone new voice, rallied the crew. That might be needed right now. And it kills me to say that. And guess what? The second they do, I hope that he is the immediate replacement for Dean Evison over in Minnesota. But I hope he proves me wrong here in the next couple of weeks, but I could easily see that being the next move, even though it's weird how the Fenway Sports Group is already so heavily entrenched with Mike Sullivan, which seems, is it just because he's a Boston guy? I don't know.
He's from Boston. He's got an accent still, kind of.
There we go. So I don't know. That's all I have to say on the Penguins. It's unfortunate, but we'll move on from that. There's not much in the Central, so we can fire right through this besides obviously the Minnesota Wild. If you want to give them a second, I don't know how fast you got a jet. I got Yotes to the Yoffs so far. And is Connor Bedard already a bust? Given that he has the same amount of points as Corey Perry, and Corey Perry's playing 4.5 minutes less than him every night. Minnesota Wild, it's fire Dean Evison and trade Kirill Kaprizov because he's washed. And Winnipeg Jets, sadly, are they destined to be Minnesota, the team that can never rebuild but will never build up to be a great contender.
That's accurate on Winnipeg.
Yeah. They are destined to be what Minnesota has been. It's sad.
They could have traded Scheifele but still signed Hellebuck, and they would have firmly supplanted them, or it's firmly become that team. The second they did that. And I get it.
They had no choice. They got to sell tickets. They're trying to stay afloat. And I still do think
it's hard.
They have a team that I think could win a playoff round. I do.
Yeah. That's the thing. They don't have a bad hockey. You look at that roster, they do not have a bad fucking hockey team. It's just what the fuck is going on? I have now I've drifted more towards I am pretty worried about Minnesota just because I know Boldy's going to come back. Spurgeon's at least skating again. He will be back at some point, soon, I guess. Well, I don't know about soon, but he's skating, however you want to interpret that. I think obviously with Spurgeon back on that blue line, I think your defense becomes a lot better, but not enough to really offset.
Not better enough.
It is bad. And that penalty kill is, I'm not kidding, one of the worst PK units I have ever seen in my life.
Well, and what's worse is they have the personnel. Like, personnel isn't the concern. Like, missing Boldy and Spurgeon aren't critical for the penalty kill. You have guys that have historically been good on the kill, and we just can't figure it the fuck out.
What's crazy to me is, I think it was Bratt's second goal. Was that the second power play goal that New Jersey scored on Sunday?
I don't know. They scored
It looked
12,
beautiful. It was 3-1 touch passes, but at the same time, I'm sitting there saying, like, well, yeah, it looked unbelievable. It was gorgeous puck movement, like very fun goal to watch. But those were the one places the puck could go. Those like the only slots and it was just everyone's just doing this. Watch. That's a good pass. Oh my god. And they do it over and over again, where it's just like you said, they should have to. I'm not saying they should be leading the league with like the best PK on the planet.
They should at least be middle of the pack.
I mean, if you like, just based on the last few games, especially, if you told me, yeah, they haven't killed a single penalty this year, I'd be like, yeah, probably. I believe it. Somehow I would imagine that they were worse than that. That sounds good, because it's been that bad, and they're losing to, like, not great teams. But my God, they're bleeding goals, and we can look at the goaltending all we want, but at the same time, the high danger chances they're giving up are unbelievable. Where it feels like if you're a goalie for the Minnesota Wild, you're like, all right, I'll face about 25 like super high danger chances, breakaways, whether it's 5v5 or we might be on the power play. We're going to give up an odd man rush at some point. Every time, my big thing is every time the opposition has the puck on their stick, I'm like, oh, they're going to get a scoring chance here. It's crazy. Like, it's not just the D zone, but like even in like the neutral zone, like it's easy for to like break out against them too. It's just, they get beat everywhere. And that's where my concern comes in, where it's like in the past, I've seen like they've given up tons of goals, whether it's because that PK was so brutal or there was a mistake in like the worst possible area or whatever, or there's just something that the goalie should save. And yeah, I've seen all of those, but I'm also seeing they're just getting diced everywhere, where they just like every team is just cutting through them like butter. And that's where I'm like, I am now kind of like firmly in the spot where like I'm pretty worried about like how this season's gonna go. But then that's the first time I've ever said that.
Give me a number, 1 to 10. Worry scale.
7.
Yeah, I would have said 6.5 or 7. So,
because I still think there are other guys that have plenty more to give too, especially offensively. But hey, one guy that people will not eat crow on, but they should. Again, Ryan Hartman is doing his fucking thing. Yeah,
and people are still complaining that he's part of the problem, and people just can't be happy.
Fucking unbelievable.
He's
making $1.7 million this year. He's oh my God, and he's gonna make.
He's not a 1C. Well, he's outscoring most of the 1C. So shut.
Well, guess what? He's not getting paid like one either. Like, shut the fuck up. Like,
well, it's pre-concern for next year because he's gonna fall off a cliff because we're seeing all the signs that he's. Oh wait. Playing better than last year.
Oh, whatever. Perfect. He's also still getting paid like a third line fucking center. Weird.
Right. It's
weird.
So dumb. All right. Rip the Pacific. I had a ton of things here, so I'm just going to rapid fire, and you can decide if there's one you want to talk about. Anaheim Ducks ruining young players, not letting them get ice time. Calgary Flames can't even touch that one. Everything's wrong. Everything's on fire. Haha. Edmonton Oilers trade Leon Draisaitl. Fire Jay Woodcroft. Maybe a Darnell Nurse buyout. Like, all of that's at play. Los Angeles Kings unfortunately ruined it for me last night with the performance against Toronto, because that one was the hammer of all hammers, but literally hammer the over on every LA game so far this year. 7 goals, 11 goals, 6 goals, 10 goals, 6 goals, 9, 9, 7, 5.
Bring back Jonathan Quick.
You'd miss 3 of them total, and one of them was an absolute fluke because Toronto, LA should have been an absolute hammer spot. So at a 6.5, you're hitting way more than you're missing. San Jose Sharks, they might get multiple first-round picks this year just for how historically bad they're going to fucking be. They are currently pacing for roughly 10 points on the season. That's insanity. And historically the worst ever since 1990. I looked up 24 points in 92-93 for the Sharks and 42 points in 94-95. I think they could goalpost, land somewhere in between the two, get the field goal, put up 3. Seattle Kraken, interesting. Last year, total outlier, and Jagwatch, just a guy on both Beniers and Wright. Vancouver Canucks, Isha, Quinn Hughes, Norris Trophy. Honestly, I threw out a little bit of money on Elias Pettersson to get Hart Trophy too. And Vegas Golden Knights, fucking repeat piece of shit bastards. Take any of that and run.
Okay. And I am strapped for time, so I will rip through a couple of these. Number 1, biggest takeaway for me, San Jose Sharks. I could absolutely see them being the worst team in NHL history. They are so fucking unbelievably bad. And shout out, I actually feel bad for him because he's very funny in terms of just being a weird guy, but in a very innocent, funny way. No, Mark Edward Vlasic put up the worst analytical performance in NHL history. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had
I feel bad for him now.
His game score was -8.5, which was just no one's touched that.
Poor guy.
And he's getting paid 7.5 sheets. Oh God,
he earned it when he got it.
Yeah. They are so bad. You look at the roster, you're well, who, if they're gonna let's say they put together a 3-game win streak, who's doing it for them? And the fact that they at one point had 2 goaltenders with over a 900 save percentage and still look
Beyond
like
impressive.
This is, they should both get the Vezina. Give them both the Vezina.
Oh, weird. Who was one of them?
Kakinen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, Hurdle is
so
their only player. I feel so bad for everyone.
They are so fucking bad. It's unbelievable. Moving on from them, I think the Kings at some point here are going to go on a fucking heater. I watched them.
I don't trust their goalies, man. I don't trust them.
I don't, but I watched them kick the ever-living dog shit out of Toronto last night. And I do think that they can protect those goalies well enough to go on a heater. I absolutely
sustain it though. That's the real question. And you know what? Fine. They can go on a heater this season. I will have so much trouble believing in them in the postseason. I will not be able to bet on
100%.
them. I can't.
100%. 100. Yeah. And I think everyone knew the Vegas Golden Knights were going to be very good again. The fact that, again, they essentially did not turn anybody over on that roster and are
hey, be respectful to Pittsburgh Penguins.
Other than Phil.
No.
And Riley Smith. Riley Smith looks good, by the way.
Has been fucking sick. He's the one thing that's been right.
Him and Malkin?
Yeah, him and Malkin have torn it up, which, by the way, Malkin, definitely not a top 100 player in the NHL a couple of years ago.
Unbelievable.
Definitely not a top 100 player just this season. If there was a list that they put out, you go, man. You're good.
No,
if they put out a list of top 100 snubs in the NHL, he would be snubbed from that list.
It's unbelievable. I still cannot believe he didn't get. That's a joke. He's one of the best NHL players.
Yeah.
So,
I think Seattle Kraken is the one you should touch on if you're going to do one more, because
I still think they have a heater in them too. That sucks that Burakovsky
Goaltending
out.
was shockingly good last year. There's no way they can repeat that.
It wasn't though. At one point, they were winning with fucking Martin Jones.
Yeah, and he was playing really fucking well.
No, he wasn't. He had like a fucking 902 save percentage.
That's really good for Martin Jones.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't fucking matter.
Beniers and Wright. Worried about either of them?
No, not at all.
Turn the page.
I couldn't be less worried about those two.
So I think Beniers is maybe a second line player.
The one game that Bjorkstrand, who were they playing? Bjorkstrand lit them up. He had 2 insane goals. I think Seattle will be fine. That's a playoff team for me. Again, I think the Kings do at some point go on a heater, but my God, Vegas, what they're doing with essentially the same roster, they look even better than they did at this point last year too.
Yep.
Shout out my boy Bruce Cassidy. I fucking love that guy. Wore a phenomenal sweatshirt last week or 2 weeks ago.
Hey Bruce, how's game 600 different than game 1? Well, the hardware is nice.
He's such a beauty. I fucking love that guy. He's the best.
It's so funny how a different market matters, because in Boston, he's just a fucking asshole. Literally any other market. Oh, yeah.
Bruce no, he's a god. Cool. He's a god here. He's a god here.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Everyone was so mad when they fired. Everyone hates Don Sweeney. Remember, everyone hates Don Sweeney and Cam Neely.
Yeah.
Which also, that's crazy.
And every goalie that you've ever had.
Yeah, every goalie ever. Love Bruce Cassidy will always be a god here. Like, you will struggle to find, especially now, obviously. The year he left, he wins the cup finally. You won't find anyone with a bad word to say about Bruce Cassidy. He's a god in Boston. But they are terrifyingly good. It is fucking unbelievable. And I've never seen a team that basically, like, because the other day, I think it was they said it was the first time ever that a team that won the cup the year before, the active roster for a game, every player was on that team, which is crazy to me.
Riley Smith.
That's true.
So fake stat.
I can't remember exactly what that stat was.
Everyone except for one.
I think it was a certain, I don't know what it was, but either way.
Pittsburgh did it in their back-to-back. The only guy they lost was which defenseman? You can go.
I know what defenseman you're talking about too. That's what
Are you literally going to the drop? Is that what's happening right now?
I am opening the door.
All right.
Peace. You finish this off strong.
Yeah, I got you covered. Don't you worry.
Sorry. Bye.